let's just begin by practicing our noun endings again. So I'm going to put the first ending for each declension. Remember, some of these declensions, the third declension has some variations, but I'm just not going to ask you to do all the variations because that's tiresome. So why don't you just fill in what comes after each of these.
Or like plural, singular.
Yeah. This is singular, plural, singular. So you'll have two columns for each. But I'm just giving you the singular. And see how many of those you can fill in. And then I will tell you the answers.
I have a quick question. Is
Yes.
it just those ones up there, or is it the whole thing? Is it just the plurals, or do we have to do all the?
No, everything. You should have, when you get done, for each one, you should have 10 of them written down.
Okay.
But I've written down one of them. So you have to add 9 of them.
Okay, I was
So
like,
finish the declension endings for each group.
okay, my bad.
Maybe I shouldn't have started the video. This will be exciting for Evelyn to watch. Me just sitting here, drinking my water. It's all right. I thought she could, if she wants to turn it on, then she can get a piece of paper and she can be writing them out too at the same time. All right, I'm going to count to 30 slowly in my head, and then I'm going to give you the answers. All right, here we go. I, I, arum, is, as, is. Us, o. E, orum, is, os, is. E, o. A, orum, is, a, is. X, is, e, n, a. S, ebus, s, ebus. Us, ui, u. Us, ebus, us, ebus. S, a, e, n, a. S, arum, abus, s, abus. Okay. what I would do is if you missed any or you had some that were blank, draw a circle around those or those spots, and then use that when you work on them, continue to work on them, to alert yourself, these are ones I'm having trouble with. If you nailed them, great. If you nailed them, you probably don't need to practice them every day, but I do them a couple times a week. Just grab a sheet, just do what we just did, and then check them. You have all those handouts, you have the book with all the forms, right? In fact, I think I gave you a sheet, right, that had a summary with all the noun endings, or did I just say you've got them collected? I thought before Christmas I might have given you a noun ending. You know what, it was more than one sheet, but it was stapled together. It was all the noun endings, I think. So you've got means to check yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. If you cannot find that, this week, tell me, email me or something, I'll bring you another one. Okay. But so if you got them right, it doesn't mean don't practice them anymore, because they will drop out of your memory if you don't continue to practice them. If you didn't get them all right, then you need to be practicing them, more than once a day, until you can get them all. And just let's remind ourselves of what this all means. And this is very basic review. There are 5, because these go together, right? Second declension and second declension neuter. There are 5 basic groups of nouns in Latin. 5 declensions. And they all use different endings depending on which declension they're in. So we have to learn them all. And not to mention that we have 5 cases, right? Nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, ablative. Remind me, what does the nominative case do? Genitive, dative, accusative, ablative. Beautiful, beautiful. And then, of course, we have if it's singular or plural. So this is why we have so many endings. Just to summarize, I think y'all know that. Obviously, you know that. So to recognize what a word is doing in a sentence, we have to know 2 things, don't we? We have to know which group the word belongs to, and then we have to know what the cases are. And so that's what we're trying to store our memory with. So through familiarity with it, when we look at a Latin word, it just jumps out, oh, that's a direct object. That's possessive. Sometimes it's not going to just jump out because, we have the same ending, sometimes doing more than one possibility. We might have to work with it a little bit, right? Wrestle with it a little bit. What is it? Is it the subject? Or we might have to know, we know a word is like this or this. Servus et domus. And if you just look at the nominative, it looks the same, but they use completely different endings. And how will I know that? Well, partly it's memorizing and partly it's practice. That's why I have you read it so many times. So you'll get used to it. Christian Newhouse is fond of saying it sounded right. I'll ask him, why did you put that in? And he says, it sounds right. And that's not a bad answer. Because eventually, it sounds right. Isn't that how little kids learn to speak English?
Yeah.
It sounded right. But sometimes it didn't. Like I runned. Why did you say runned? It sounded right. Well, why did it sound right? Because that's what we do for past tense. We put an ED on it, right? But not always. So eventually, though, they hear it enough that runned doesn't sound right anymore. And ran sounds right to them. So, okay, so any questions? Problems? It's work I can't do for you. It's work you have to do on your own, of just repeatedly writing them out, practicing them, chanting them to yourself, and eventually you will get them all. But even the process of just getting a piece of paper and doing what you just did for me at home familiarizes you with them again.
Wait, is this for
Yes.
There's supposed to be a line above like the ooey and the and the ooh.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering.
There are, the lines I put in are the lines that help you distinguish cases. So like this us doesn't have a line, but these do. There are other lines, and I'm not making you learn all of them. Eventually, if you go on and take lots of Latin, you have to start learning them. But it's largely used in poetry. It's long vowels. It's how long the syllable is. So this one, and these, the reason I'm putting them on there is because they help you tell the difference between cases. But there are other, like this has a line, this has a line, okay, that I'm not requiring you to learn, not yet anyway, okay? But that's a really good question. I'm glad you noticed that there are, in the sheets I gave you, there are lines. I mean, these all have, lines, but macrons they're called. But we're just not going to worry about them. Let's get this part first, right? Okay. Okay, that's the first thing I wanted to do. The second thing I wanted to do is just review these participles. From last week, I gave you a sheet, which you don't have to get out. And we discovered that every verb be turned into a participle, an ing word, in other words. And so woko, wokat, or wokant is a verb, call. But if I take the ending away and just have that stem and put wokans, something means calling. Calling. And it's not a verb anymore, it's an adjective. The calling mother. What kind of mother? A calling mother. Right? And it declines suddenly like one of these third declensions. Wokans, wokantis, wokanti, wokantem, wokante. And now it's suddenly an adjective. It agrees with its noun in case and number and gender. So the calling woman, of the calling woman, they're both genitive, to the calling woman, they're both genitive, and we do it like that. They gave you some examples, the sheet I gave you last week, so you have that for reference. Also in the back of Familia Romana, why don't we just take a look at the back of chapter 14 together. It is on page 108. And there you can see in the margin on the side of page 108, participium, and it has ns. Now the cases are in a different order. Do you notice it says nominative, accusative, genitive, dative, ablative? But don't let that throw you, but they're all there. And we see how it declines. And then they give you examples. I'm going to read out of the chapter to you today, and we will stop and take a close look at the examples of participles when we run into them. And then down below, do you see the 1, 2, 3, 4?
Yeah.
Ons, ontis, ens, entis, ens, entis, iens, ientis. It's the 4 kinds of verbs. Verbs that are like woko, verbs that are like video, verbs that are like pono, and words that are like audio. We will address the differences between those verbs later, but that's how we form the participles. Is there any question about that? We talked about it last week. You read. Hopefully, you worked your way through the chapter this week, and you encountered some examples. But does it make sense that that sometimes a word could be a verb? Call is the thing I'm doing. I'm calling. I'm calling the pizza place. And now it's a verb, right? But if we say, the calling birds kept me awake all night. See, now it's not the verb anymore. Kept is the verb. And it tells what kind of birds they are. They're calling birds. Or if I say, the boy is sleeping, well, then it tells you what he's doing. But if I say, the sleeping boy is snoring, well, he's snoring. That's what he's doing. What kind of boy is he? He's a sleeping boy. So we can't just look at a word by itself, the word sleeping or calling, and know what it is. It only is something with other words around it. Does that make sense? Because if I asked you, tell me what the word calling is. You wouldn't know. You'd have to say, Mrs. Ferguson, it could be the verb. It could be a participle. I don't know. But it's not until I put it in a sentence that you know. If you think about it, the word call is the same. If I said, what is call? You might say, it's a verb. You might say, it's a noun. A bird call. The bird call is on my recording, right? And then the call is a thing. The call of the bird, it's a thing. But sometimes call is a verb, something I'm doing. So words are kind of tricky. Sometimes we don't know, they're shifty, they're a little slimy, wiggly, and we don't know what they're doing sometimes. So these are participles, so they're ing, but they're not being the verb. So they don't have normal verb endings. They have adjective and noun endings because that's what they're doing. Okay, are we good with that?
Yeah.
All right. Could you guys help me remember where we left off reading, if we can even remember? I remember we talked about that they're in, I remember Marcus dormit, Quintus non dormit, Quintus vigilat, non dormit, cur, quia aigrotat, caput dolet, pes dolet, quoque brachium dolet, itque non dormit, vigilat, et gallus canit, cucurulu, mane est, non est vesper, est mane, et sed Quintus non dormit, Marcus dormit. Semper, Marcus dormit, itaque davus excitat. Marce, surge, Marce, excitat eum. Bene, intelligitis. And I think that's kind of where we left off, right?
Yeah.
So, he asked for water, and I think maybe we got down to line 32 and then starting in line 33.
Yeah.
Do you think
so
that's
kind of like-
accurate?
So kind of like where the
Davos.
second part of the story is.
Yeah, but there's a Roman numeral 2.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start there. Let's see if we can get through all the way to the, well, certainly we should be able to get to the Roman numeral 3.
Yeah.
I think we can read that much. Well, you know what? We're just going to spend the rest of the time, if this is helpful, we're going to read it together. We're going to talk about it in English and in Latin. I might put some sentences on the board when we hit a participle and we'll check it out. Is there anything else that would be helpful for you? Like, do you have any specific questions? In other words, something you want to discuss specifically? Or should we just kind of move through the chapter? Will that be helpful?
We should like move through the
Okay,
chapter.
okay.
I guarantee you some questions.
Okay, and by the way, stop me. Stop at any point and say, yeah, I don't know what's going on in that sentence. Or, I have just lost the story, I don't know what's happening now. All right, there's no silly question. Okay. Davus quintum in lecto iacentem relinquit, et cubiculum marci intrat. Davus relinquit. Est Marcus Davus relinquit, et intrat cubiculum marci. Dat paculum quinto est bibe quinte, et exit, et intrat cubiculum marci. Davus relinquit quintum iacentem in lecto. Iacentem? Iaceo est quintum iacentem. Est vocans, vocantis, vocanti, vocantem. Est accusativus tem. Est quintum iacentem in lecto. Bene? Et intrat cubiculum marci. Marcus ad hoc dormit. Ad hoc tempus. Ad hoc, still. All the way up to this time, he is still asleep. Ad hoc dormit. Davus, oh, I think we did maybe read this part. That's okay. Davus ad puerum dormientem adit et, eumque excitat. Quomodo servus puerum excitat? In aurum pueri dormientis magna voce clamat, Marce, Marce, mane est. In aurum pueri dormientis. Guys, what case do you think pueri dormientis is? Pueri dormientis. In no?
Is it genitive?
It is genitive. We have the is, dormientis, and we have the pueri, genitive.
It's also a participle.
So he's the of the sleeping boy. Not just of the boy, pueri, of the sleeping boy, pueri dormientis. Make sense?
Yeah.
Bene. At the eomodo, est in eomodo, excitator Marcus. Davus excitat Marcum, Marcus excitator ad davo. Active and passive. Remember that? Davus excitat, Marcus excitator. Et oculos aperiens servum apud lectum stantem videt. Id est Marcus aperiet oculos et videt servum stantem apud lectum. Iam neuter duobus pueris dormit. Neuter. Non Marcus, non Quintus. Neuter. Neuter dormit. Neither. Hora prima est, in quid Davus surge. Surge electo. Hora prima est. Marcus electo surgit. Iam non cubat in lecto, sed ante lectum stat. Marcus davum aquam aferi iubet. Aferi. Fero est fero. Ad fero, afero is fero ad. To bring something to. Afero. Et Marcus iubet davum aferi aquam. Afer mihi aquam ad manus. Vult. Marcus vult lavare manus. Afer mihi aquam ad manus. Servus Marco aquam afert, et ecce aqua inquit lava faciem et manus. Manus tuae sordidae sunt. Sordidae. Manus tuae sordidae sunt. Marcus primum manus lavat, diende faciem. Davus. Aures quoque lava. Aures. Et davus imperat. Lava aures. Sed aures, inquit Marcus, in facie non sunt. Marcus inquit, tu imperat me lava faciem. Aures non sunt in facie. Marcus improbus est. Davos. Take puer. Non modo faciem, sed totum caput. Lava. Merge caput in aqua. Merge. Merge caput in aqua. Marcus caput totum in aquam mergit, atque etiam aures et capillum lavat. Iam totum caput eius purum est. Manus sunt sordidae, nunc sunt purae, non sordida, purae sunt. Aqua non est pura, sed sordida. Nunc aqua est sordida. Manus sunt purae, aqua est sordida. Est terra, humus terra est in aqua. Marcus. Aqua qua Marcus lavatur frigida est. Frigida. Frigida. Aqua est frigida. Let's take a look at that sentence, though. That seems like it has some complicated stuff going on. Let's just zoom in on that sentence for a minute. Where is it? Why can I not even? Okay. Aqua qua, and I'm going to put that line because it's important. Marcus lavatur frigida est. All right. My question here is, what is the main? We have two sections. We have two verbs. The weird thing is we have two verbs. Tell me one verb that we have. Est. And what's another verb we have? Lavatur. And so we have two clauses, two groups of words that have a verb with them. What's the main thing that the sentence is telling us? What's the There's part of this we could take away and part of it we can't take away. What's the part we can't take away? What's the main message, do you think?
Marcus washing?
You would think so. And we could read it that way. But if we have two sections, we have one of our qui quod words, and I'm just going to take this part up to the verb. We've got two parts. We have qua Marcus lavatur, and we have aqua frigida est. Which one of those could we just put by itself? Aqua frigida est. The water is cold. The water with which Marcus is washed. You see? And that part is dependent on the other. Because water is cold. What water? The water. And we have an ablative. By means of which. Remember those ablative of means that have been popping up? Sometimes if we say someone uses something to do it, I cut the bread with a knife. And we just put knife in the ablative, right? I summoned him with a letter. We just put letter in the ablative. The water is cold. What water? The water by means of which Marcus is washed. Does that make sense? Yeah. So we have this query, qua. This is a hard, whenever we find these little Q words, they can be really tricky. Ask Neil. Neil knows, like, quo and all sometimes it's not even qui quod, right? It's doing something else. Oh, yes.
The back door is broken. The lock is broken.
Oh.
So I'm leaving and I have to lock it. So how many other groups do you have coming in? Just
Oh, no, I just have one group after this, and I can send at 12:30. No, that's fine. Thank you for letting me know. No, it's fine. We'll get done. We'll be done early enough to, let's get up there by 5 minutes before. Maybe 8 minutes before. I don't want them cold.
Do they have your number, like if they?
Yeah, they do. They do.
Okay.
All right. Thanks. Thanks, Anita. All right. pergamus. I've lost it again. I always keep looking at them. Okay. Itaque, puer, manus et caput solum lavat, non totum corpus. Non lavat totum corpus cur, quia aqua est frigida. Mane, Romani faciem et manus aqua frigida lavant. Post meridium, totum corpus lavant aqua calida. Calida est non est frigida. Calida. Calida. Calida sum. Calida. So, mane Romani lavant in aqua frigida. Post meridium, Romani lavat in aqua calida. Bene? Marcus caput et manus tergens. Tergo. 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 Tergens caput et manus. Davum interrogat. Cur frater meus tam quietus est? Marcus non audit fratrem. Cur quia quintus dolet? Davus respondet. Quintus ad hoc in lecto est. Quintus est in lecto. Marcus, in lecto? Quintus, qui ante me surgere solet, ad hoc dormit? Solet. Quid significat solet?
Alone.
Non est. Solet est nilus legit. Hodie legit. Et cras leget in hoc die, nilus legit. Nilus solet legeri. Solet legeri. Semper. Nilus legit, semper. Hoc die, semper. Nilus legit. Nilus solet legeri. What do you think it means?
Always.
Yeah, he's a, well, always isn't a verb. Solet is a verb. We would say, maybe in English, he's accustomed to doing that. That's what he always does. He's accustomed to doing that. So what is Quintus accustomed to doing in that sentence?
Like sleeping in.
No?
Yeah, and like,
That's why he's so surprised. Quintus solet surgere ante me.
He wakes up before.
Yeah, he's accustomed to get up before me. Ante me surgere solet. Sed nunc hodie non est. Quintus non surgit. Et imperat excita eum. Non dormit inquitavus. Frater tuus vigilat. Nec surgere potest. Quod pes et caput eidolet. Non potest surgere, quia pes dolet et caput dolet. I don't know that your arm hurting would keep you from getting out of bed, but
well, also his foot.
well, it's his foot is, and bad headache can do that too. Marcus, mihi quoque caput dolet. Non est falsum. Cur Marcus respondet. Mihi caput quoque dolet. Cur respondet.
In order to lie in bed.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to get up. Like, oh, if Quintus says he has a headache and he gets to lay in bed, then if I have a headache, can I lay in bed too? Oh, Marcus, we see right through you. Davus. Tibi nek caput nek pes dolet. Caput valens non dolet. Nec membra valentia. Valens. Vale. Valete. Valeo est be well. Right? So when we say goodbye to someone, vale, valete, we're just like, be well. Be well. So, caput valens. Oh, I erased my little chart, didn't I? Caput valens et membra valentia. Non dolent. Everybody take a look at page 108. Actually, do you know where the sheet is? Do you all know where the sheet is? If you don't have it, I'll come around because it's just easier because they have it in the cases in the order that I want. So Evelyn, we've got the chapter 14 sheet. Does something smell really good? Is it Gabriel? Do you smell like Culver's? Okay. Do you guys see the? Do you see the list?
I have this.
Here, I'm just going to show you. Okay. So nominative valens. Do we see that? So caput valens. It's neuter. Caput is neuter. Et membra valentia. Everybody look at the plural. Neuter. Nominative. Valentia. Membra valentia. It's membrum is neuter, singular membrum, plural membra. Do you follow?
Yeah.
It's got the pattern that we didn't really write up here, but we remember there are third declension neuters that have the A, just like these neuters have the A. Membra valentia et caput valens. A healthy head and healthy limbs, members, don't hurt. Does that make sense? That's why we have that caput dolens et membra valentia. Does it make sense? You might not remember every detail of it, but does it make sense? Because membra is neuter and it's plural. And so we use the neuter plural participle to go along with it. Okay. Per fenestram apertam intrat aer frigidus. Aer frigidus intrat cubiculum per fenestram. Marcus friget. Friget est friget. Quod corpus eius nudum est. Id est sine vestimentis. Marcus non habet vestimenta est nudus. Itaque Marcus vestimenta sua a servo pascit. Pascit. Da mihi. Da mihi. Pascit. Da mihi. Poscit. Marcus poscit vestimenta. Da mihi tunicam et togam. Vestime. Vestime. Vesteri est vestire est poneri vestimenta. Est on in alium corpus. Pone et Marcus imperat. Vesti me. Davus puero frigenti tunicam et togam dat. Davus dat togam, dat tunicam puero frigenti, to the shivering boy. Neque eum vestit, non vestit eum, necesse est puerum ipsum se vestire. Ipsum, puerum ipsum, ipsi, ipsa, ipsum significat himself. It's necessary for a boy to dress himself. You're not baby. Not dressing you, Marcus. Right? Necesse est vestire se ipsum. Marcus primum tunicam induit. Induit est induit. Diende togam. Puer iam nudus non est. Habet vestimenta. Toga. Quid est toga? Toga est vestimentum album. Album. Quod viri et pueri Romani gerunt. Gerunt est habet in corpus, in corpore. Ego gero haec vestimenta. Gero. Graeci et barbari togam non gerunt. Multis barbaris magna corporis pars nuda est. Barbari solent habere nudum corpus. Non totum corpus nudum est, sed magna pars corporis est nuda. Barbaris. Viro togato nulla pars corporis est nuda. Praeter brachium alterum. Romanus vir qui habet togam nulla pars est nuda. Nulla pars corporis est nuda. Praeter alterum brachium. Only one arm sticks out of a toga. Only one arm is accustomed to stick out of the toga when you're wrapped in it correctly. Does that make sense? I don't think it would be very convenient. Utrum brachium viro togato nudum est. Dextrum aut sinistram. Est dextrum brachium, est sinistrum brachium. Utrum est nudum. Brachium dextrum est nudum. Brachium sinistrum toga operitur. It is toga operit brachium sinistrum. Brachium operitur toga. Et multi homines habent brachium dextrum fortem. Mihi brachium dextrum est fortem. Est fortis. Brachium sinistrum non est fortis. Est brachium dextrum est fortis. Are any of you left-handed? No. Most people are right-handed, so it's customary. You have your dominant hand out of the toga, right? But it's, I don't know, like if you're left-handed, then do you wrap your toga a different way? Neschio. But left-handed togas. Since it's just a big piece of fabric, you could probably just wrap it the other way. Milites togam non gerunt. Nemo enem togatus gladio et scuto pugnare potest. Nemo qui habet togam potest pugnare in toga. Non potest. Get in your way and it would trip you. Itaque milites non gerunt togam. Utra manu miles gladium gerit. Miles gerit gladium manu dextra. Scutum gerit manu sinistra. Scutum, shield, right? Again, unless you're left-handed. There must have been left-handed Roman soldiers. Okay, I'm going to send, is it okay if I send one of you up? In like 3 or 4 minutes, and then watch the door till everybody seems to be here, or if it's past 12:30, just come back down, because maybe they're not coming, but I don't think anybody's accustomed to being really late for high school class. I think most people are here on time, so, but anyway, I don't care who does that, but actually, can I make Neil? Can I make you go do it? Why don't you just go now? Because it's so cold outside. That's the thing. I don't want anybody waiting. So Neil, you be the door manager, and then you know who's here, who's coming. I haven't heard that anybody's missing. So, but if it's past time, thank you. If it's past time, just come back down. Okay. That way we can read a little bit more. Marcus, qui pedibus nudis ante lectum stat. Marcus habet nudos pedes, habet vestimenta, sed pedes sunt nudi. Calcios poscit. Qui est calcius? Est calcius. Calcius. Poscit calcius. Da mihi calcios. Pedes frigent mihi. Pedes sunt frigidi. Davus ei calcios dat, et eum secum venire iubet. Veni mecum. Davus iubet Marcum eum venire cum se. Secum est cum se. Veni mecum. Veni. Dominus et domina te expectant. It is mater et pater, Julius et Aemilia, expectant te, Marce. Marcus cum servo atrium intrat. Ubi parentes sedent liberos expectantes. What kind of parents? Parentes expectantes. Expectantes liberos. Where the parents sit. What kind of parents? The waiting for children parents. Right? The waiting for children parents are sitting. Ante eos in parva mensa panis et mala sunt. Panis est not a mushroom. It's a slice of bread. Mala. Non est bonum malum. Parentes a filio intrante salutantur. Parentes salutantur a filio intrante. Id est filius intrans salutat parentes. Or parentes salutantur a filio intrante. Intrante est ablative. Hello. Come in and get warmed up. Salvete pater et mater, et ipsi filium intrantem salutant. Ipsi est pater et mater. Pater et mater salutant filium intrantem. Salve, Marce. Mater alterum filium non videns. Davum interrogat. Quintus, quomodo se habet, hodie? Dolet? Valet? Quomodo se habet? Mater non videt filium, ubi est Quintus? Non videns interrogat. Davus, Quintus dicit, non modo pedem, sed etiam caput dolere. I'm going to stop. This is going to be the last sentence that we're going to look at. We actually got a lot. We could probably finish off, but next week I was hoping to read Colloquium 3. So took a look at that with me, though. Do you remember these structures that have an infinitive? Dolere. Literally, this sentence says, Quintus says, not only his foot, but also his head to hurt. But we don't talk like that in English, do we? We don't. He said his head to hurt. Oh, nobody says that. He says that his head hurts. This is what we call an indirect statement. I'm not quoting someone. I don't know what words. Maybe Quintus said, my head is killing me. But Dallas doesn't report that. He says that his head hurts and his foot hurts. Literally in Latin, he says his head and foot to hurt. And that's what we have going on there. They put little apostrophe quotation marks for you on those whenever you run into them. Okay. What I would like you guys to do for next week is read the chapter 3 times. Oh, and I have sentences for you. Evelyn, I will send these to you. I'm going to shut this off in a minute, but these are sentences that have participles in them. I would like you to translate them into English. We don't do a lot of this with you guys, but I'd just like you to write, what does this mean in English? Next to it or on another piece of paper, all right? And it's practice with our participles. If you're not sure what to do with it, you can either call me or you can just wait till next week and we will take a look at them, okay? I'll probably collect them from you because I don't think we want to take the time to go through all of them, but we might go through them rapidly. So does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to shut this off.